We can also use the cosine rule to find any unknown angle or any unknown side in a non-right angle triangle. So we've drawn a non-right angle triangle and labelled the corners capital A, capital B, capital C. We're then going to label the sides that are opposite each capital letter with the corresponding lowercase letter. So this side is opposite angle A, so it's small a. This side is opposite angle B, so that's small b. And this side is opposite angle C, so we're going to call that small c. Now, the cosine rule links every lowercase letter to its corresponding capital letter. So let's say we want to write out the cosine rule that connects small a to capital A. It looks like the following. It starts with the lowercase letter, so it starts with A and then it's being squared. So the lowercase letter squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, so B squared plus C squared, then minus twice the product of the other two sides, and then that's being multiplied by the cosine of the corresponding angle, which is capital A. So again, note that the cosine rule starts with the lowercase letter and finishes with the corresponding capital letter. Okay, so that's the cosine rule that links small a to capital A. We can also link small b to capital B and small c to capital C. So let's say we start the cosine rule with small b. So we would start it with b squared, and that's equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. The other two sides would be a and c. So a squared plus c squared, minus twice the product of the other two sides, so minus 2ac, and then that's being multiplied by the cosine of the corresponding capital letter, which is going to be capital B. So when we start the cosine rule with small b, it's going to end with capital B. Again, we can also use the cosine rule to link small c to capital C. So this time it would start with the lowercase letter. Small c squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So it would now be a squared plus b squared, minus twice the product of the other two sides, a and b, multiplied by the cosine of the corresponding capital letter. So it's going to be capital C. Now, on your formula sheet, they only give the first version of the cosine rule that links the lowercase a to the capital A. However, you need to be flexible and you need to be able to apply the cosine rule to other letters that don't start with A. So for example, B and C, like we did here. Not only that, you have to be flexible and be able to apply the cosine rule to a triangle where the corners aren't A, B and C. So for example, let's say we have another non-right angle triangle. And we'll call this triangle PQR. So the corners are labelled with capital letters, capital P, capital Q and capital R. So that means the side opposite every capital letter has the corresponding lowercase letter. So this side is going to be small p, this side is going to be small q, and this side is going to be small r. So let's say, for example, we wanted to write the cosine rule out, which connects small q to capital Q. So this time the cosine rule would start with the lowercase letter q squared, and that's equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So the other two sides are going to be p squared plus r squared. So q squared equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides minus twice the product of the other two sides. And then that's being multiplied by the cosine of the corresponding capital letter. So it's going to be cos of capital Q. So you can see there that you also need to be able to write out the cosine rule for a non-right angle triangle which doesn't have corners A, B and C. Now finally, when do we use the cosine rule? There's only two occasions we can use it. You use the cosine rule when you know two sides of a non-right angle triangle and the angle in between them, or you use it when you know all three sides of a non-right angle triangle.